Hi, welcome to this week's 10-minute book review, my bookends. I'm 10 and
Two's on the phone.
2's on the phone because it's so cold. We have to call it in. So,
Because I also don't feel so great.
yeah, 2's coming down with a cold.
Yeah.
Let me make sure my phone's turned all the way up. Okay. 2, can you say something?
Like what?
There we go. I think they can hear you.
Okay.
Alright, so for this review, it's going to be special. We're going to be doing 2 books today because it is a trilogy, but we went over 2 of the books because we kind of found the trilogy, well,
Yeah, what?
we kind of found the trilogy late because the first book came out in 2016.
Oh.
And I think the second book came out this 2018. I think the third book comes out this year.
Uh-huh.
So the books we're talking about are Scythe.
And Thunderhead.
Yay! And Thunderhead. This one's Thunderhead.
Well, you won't see Thunderhead, but I have it over the phone.
She has it over the phone. I have the electronic version.
Okay,
So-
well, perfect.
Huh?
I said, okay, perfect. That looks great.
Yep. So, if you're new to our channel, what we like to do is we like to give a rating for what it would be if it was in the movies and a star point for what we think it would rate star-wise, like how many stars out of 10. So for Scythe, I give Scythe 10 stars. For Thunderhead, I give it 8 stars.
Really?
I wanted to love it, but I ended up liking it.
Really?
Well, what did you give them both?
Well, I will have given the Thunderhead at least a star more. I would give it a 9.
A 9, okay.
But the other Scythe, I would have been a 7.
Okay, so let's get this straight. So for me, Scythe is a 10. For 2, Scythe is a 7. For me, Thunderhead is an 8. For 2, Thunderhead is a 9.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the main players in actually the main players are kind of the same in both, but there's someone new introduced in Thunderhead. So starting off with Scythe. The main players in Scythe are Citra Terranova. She is a young lady. In my mind, she's black, or at least some form of brown. But yeah, but because no one dies anymore, you know what? Let's leave that for the synopsis. So yeah, so Citra Terranova. Yeah, I'm going too far into it. So it's Citra Terranova, Rowan Damish, Scythe Faraday, and Scythe Goddard, and Scythe Curry, but she's not as in it as the other ones.
You're not been calling her Curie.
No, you're right, actually. It is Curie. I'm saying it wrong because it's from Madame Curie. Marie Curie. So you're right. I'm the one saying it wrong. You're right. You're right. I had this thing in my head and I said it the way I thought it. But you're right. You're actually saying it right. I'm wrong. So the premise of the book is it's supposed to be way in the future. And humans have conquered death. Not because we've become superhuman. Not because of aliens. Thank God, not because of magic. But because of science. So technology has progressed to the point where we're able to regenerate cells at such a rapid pace that if someone, let's say, jumps off a building or is harmed in a car accident, they're able to regenerate quickly enough so that they don't actually die. Then they're brought to, I believe, a regeneration place, like a hospital, where their limbs are regenerated or they're sewn back up or what have you, so that they look just as good as new. Also, huh?
I'm sorry, this is that movie, you know.
Which one?
It's that futuristic movie. I forgot the name of it. You want to see it in the movies, and we've seen it on TV.
Oh, Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's kind of like Ghost in the Shell, but not creepy. Like they're not like stealing hobos off the street and saying, "Hey, you're gonna fight for us."
Right.
Wipey wipe your brain. Yeah. Also, too, aging is a thing of the past. They have found, because they can regenerate cells, they have found a way to regenerate cells back to the age of no younger than 21. Which, think about it, you can't really do much before the age of 21 anyway. Like, who wants to be 16 again when you could just be 21 and fine and cute? But, I'm just saying. So, also, too, because no one dies, people have mixed so much that, it's hard to tell what someone is just by looking. Like, you can say this person looks Pan-Asian, this person looks like they of Afro descent. So, you know, if you've ever done the 23andMe, like, you know, the DNA test, and it says you're this percent Pan-Asian, you're this percent European, you're this percent. So instead of introducing, hi, I'm Neal, I'm African American. No, hi, I'm Neal. I'm 0.05% Pan-Asian. I am 52% Afro something. I am 30% European, you know, so that's how it is. Except you don't actually say the nationality, you just say the numbers. So apparently each number slot stands for a different nationality. So you know how like a phone number, how it has the 3-digit area code?
Right. Some people don't have that though.
Well, over here, though, like, if you're even, okay, let's say it's an international calling. So, just calling anywhere internationally. You have the 3-digit country code, the 3-digit area code, the 3-digit landing code, and then the 4-digit privatized code that you know who you're calling. So, you have those 4 sections, and you know each section, it means something different. Mm-hmm. When someone's saying something, they say, like, oh, what are you? I'm 0.3, 25, 81, 20. I know those numbers don't make sense. They don't add up, but that's how someone would say it. Huh?
But it still identifies.
Yes. So if you can imagine that those are actual numbers that add up to 100 and each marker is for a different nationality, that's how people identify themselves now. So that's very interesting. So with no one dying either from unnatural causes such as an accident or murder, and also no one dying from old age or natural causes, the concern came in.
No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, sorry. The concern came in about overpopulation. If no one dies, then eventually we're gonna run out of room. So 2 things emerged. Thunderhead, which is like a sentient Google, a Google with a heart and a mind. It came into place and it helped to create the system with no one dying because it has cameras everywhere. So even if, let's say, someone was beat up in an alley, let's say nobody else was around to see it, Thunderhead sees and immediately sends the police over or ambulance or someone to help them, as well as activates the nanites within them that keeps them alive. So there's Thunderhead, and then there's also a association called the Scythe. These people are tasked with culling. I want to say culling because that's a nice way of saying it. But basically, they make sure that we don't overpopulate the earth. So they basically kill people. That's their job. They're yeah, they're fancy murderers. Basically, if you can imagine human beings as a garden, they're gardeners. They're there to preen additional humans. So they have rules to it, though. There's a certain amount of people that can be gleamed, that's what they call it, gleamed, in a year by each scythe. They have to meet their mark. They cannot go over their mark. And it sounds like a scary prospect, but according to the book, you'd have a 1 in 50,000 chance of meeting a scythe in a lifetime. A lifetime being 200 years. So when, yeah, so like when people usually hit around 60 or 40, they do something called turning the clock or turning the corner, which means they go back. A lot of people choose to go back to around 30, 35. Some people decide to go all the way back to 21. So you'll find like one person with like 5 different families. Not that they abandoned their family. They didn't. But they had kids. Kids grew up. They decided, oh, okay, well, I want to be the hot grandma. I'm going to be 21. Well, I'm 21 now, so now I need myself a 21-year-old man. Now I have a new family. You know, yeah. So it's not abandonment. It's not like that kind of a thing. Like no one's abandoning anyone. What, too?
Yeah. Huh?
Did you say something, too?
I thought about it. Then that's terrible.
In a
But I
way,
get it because you don't want to die, so I get it.
yeah, and it's like, and not in abandonment. Like, no one's saying, okay, well, this was nice, bye. Like, they are raising their families. It's just, I don't want to stay old forever, so, you know, I'm not going to stay old. So, we meet Citra. So, Scythe Faraday, he comes to her home, and her family is, like, scared. Because, like, they only come to your house if they're going to glean somebody. So they're scared, but he asks for a meal, and her mother gives him a meal. And Citra's like, listen, I'm not fitting to be sitting up in here scared of you. Like, if you're here to get one of us, get it done and leave. Of course, her mother and father, like, are super scared. And so they get on their knees and beg him, like, don't take one of the children. Please, take one of us. They haven't turned a corner yet. They're brand new to this world. Take one of us. The husband's like, take me. Scythe Faraday is like, you know, I'm not even mad at her. It's been like years since somebody ever stuck up to me or has stood up to me. So I'm not even mad at her. Like, I'm not even trying to kill y'all. No way. I'm here for your neighbor, but she wasn't even home yet and I was hungry. So he asks them for a knife. They give him a knife. He goes over to the neighbor's house, kills her, brings the knife back, and he's like, here, this is yours. Citra's like, bruh, I don't want this. Like, because he's basically giving her back a murder weapon. And she's like, I don't want this. He's like, but you have to, because you have just as much part in what I do as me who's doing it. Because I'm doing it for people like you, for everyone to be able to keep living. She throws the knife out like, bro, I'm not for that. She drops that right in the garbage by the door and keep it pushing. So the next day, he goes to a high school, Scythe Faraday. He goes to a high school and he's about to glean like their quarterback, like their star football player. And Rowan is there and he sees him about to go. And he sees the football player going into the office because he was called to the office. Everybody knows the football player is going to be gleaned, right? Rowan is like, he shouldn't have to die by himself because nobody really knows what true death feels like. Very few people know what true death feels like, and they're all dead. So they can't come back and say, yeah, like what true death feels like. Basically, it's just people in comas now. Like, no one truly dies except for someone killed by a scythe. So, he goes into the principal's office with Scythe Faraday, and he says to the guy, like, I'll hold your hand so you don't have to die alone. Scythe Faraday is like, you know, I'm going to electrocute him. I'm going to cause him to have a heart attack via electrocution. And if you're holding his hand, it's a good chance you could die too. And since I'm the one doing it, you won't be brought back. You're just going to be dead. And he's like, I'll take that chance because he shouldn't have to die alone. Scythe Faraday's like, okay, cool, bro. You want to take a chance? Here's your chance. So he electrocutes, So he electrocutes the football player.
You should have seen the touching part about it, though.
It was touching because everybody else was like, oh, not me. Oh, don't touch me. But Rowan is like, you know, listen, right is right, wrong is wrong. He shouldn't have to die alone. And he even said to Faraday, like, why don't you tell him why he died? Like, why did you choose him? And Faraday was like, does it even matter? Because he's still going to die anyway. But he's like, no, let him know why. Like, there has to be something behind it. Faraday is a mathematician and he loves statistics. So he said in the age of death, which is basically our age right now, in the age of death, a certain amount of teenagers were killed every year from drunk driving. And the quarterback had been caught and ticketed, I think 5 times that year for drinking and driving while intoxicated. So he's like, this is, you know, the best way for him to die, because if we were in the age of death, he would be dead. So long story short, he zaps the football player. Rowan gets thrown across the room. He don't die though. Rowan doesn't die. He just gets hurt up really bad. And Faraday is like, I'm impressed by you wanting to stand by him when everybody else was too scared to do so, even the adults. But don't get it wrong. Nobody is going to thank you for this. Nobody.
And usually still leaves him in that same position to still being killed himself at just a later time.
Basically, yeah. And then in the school the next day, people are like, it's your fault, Rowan, that he was killed. Even dude's girlfriend didn't even go in there with him. Dude's girlfriend let him go in there by himself. And she's like, you're the friend of the Scythe. You did it. when Rowan didn't do nothing but just hold dude's hand so that he didn't have to die alone.
Yeah.
So Scythe Faraday chooses, he does something that's never been done before. He chooses Rowan and Citra as apprentices. Neither of them want to be an apprentice of his because they don't want to kill anybody. And he's like, that's precisely why you should be an apprentice. A Scythe should hate their job. A good Scythe should hate killing people and should only do it because it's something that they have to do, not because it's something to enjoy. Keep that in mind. So basically he goes throughout training them in different ways to kill people. Humane ways to kill people, quick ways to kill people, and even takes them on trips with him to go kill people. When they go to a convention, they meet another Scythe called Scythe Goddard. Dude is hyper crazy. Hyper crazy. Like, you see him in one part of the book, he goes onto a plane and he just does like some Sparta junk. Like, he's just like, everybody take out your knives because we're going cutting today. Like, he took some other Scythes, and he likes to be gaudy. He likes, like, for everybody to see me. Like, I'm going to wear a bright robe. It's going to have rubies on it. You're going to see me when I walk in this door. You're going to know who killed you. Exactly. Yeah, but he did some Sparta junk. Like, he walked in there like, this is Sparta. Everyone dies. There was nothing kind about it. The Scythe that's supposed to be kind, they're supposed to be above it all. They're not supposed to be malicious or petty. They're supposed to be kind. But he is none of those things. There's another part in the book where him and his disciples, I call them disciples because they follow behind him. They're just as wicked as he is. They go to a mall. And they go into a food court of a mall. And they just start gleaming everybody but this one little chubby girl. I'm like, dude, what is up with you?
Yeah.
Because, like, you see in the book, you see how Faraday does things. And then all of a sudden you see this, like, this person who's just like, okay, it's one thing to preen a garden. Cut off a leaf here and there that's dying. It's nothing to say, like, this garden sucks and set it on fire and watch it burn.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a Goddard. Goddard sets the garden on fire and sits back and watches it burn. Like, these roses smell pretty on fire. These roses on fire smell pretty. We also meet Madame can you say her name? Curie. We also meet Scythe Curie. And what was curious about Curie is that her and Faraday seem to have a deep friendship. Later on you find out they were in love. But Scythes aren't allowed to be in love. They're not allowed to marry. They're not allowed to have children. They're not allowed to have any physical attachments to this world. Because it could, I guess, ruin their judgment. And so the two of them were like kicking it for a while. And when it was found out that they were kicking it, they had to, I think they were kicking it for like 7 years. So they had, the Scythe Council said that they had to die 7 times. And they weren't 7 nice deaths either. And I thought it was cute. Scythe Faraday was willing to die for her so she wouldn't have to. So he really cared for her, but it's just, this is a part of the job, and the part of the job says that you can't do that. You can't fall in love, which is sad, because I want them to love. But anyway, so they go to a convention, they meet Scythe Goddard. Scythe Goddard is like, he got 2 apprentices. Okay, let's make a deal. Whoever doesn't get the apprenticeship has to be killed by the one who does get the apprenticeship. Scythe Faraday is like, nah, bro, that's not how the rules work. How it works is if you're not chosen, you get chosen. You get released back into the population, and that's it. It's like it never happened. But the head of the Scythe Council, what is this man's name? Do you remember his name?
Wait.
I think, is it, let me see. Okay, Xenocrates.
Wait,
Highblade Xenocrates. So I'm just gonna call him Highblade Zeno. So Highblade Zeno agrees with him for reasons unknown, which you'll find out.
Xenocrates.
Huh?
How do you know it's not Xenocrates?
It could be Xenocrates.
You know, but sometimes okay, being that it's an X, it's like Xavier, so you don't really count the X that's there.
I did say Zen.
It could be.
Okay, let's say high blood, huh?
Or just Blade.
Okay, so the High Blade agrees with him, and we're gonna find out why later. So what Scythe Faraday does is he makes it look like he committed suicide. Or I should say it looks like he committed suicide, and that he did that in order to release both of his apprentices so they can go back into the regular world. When I say regular world, it's all the regular world, but be released out of their apprenticeship. So that neither of them has to die. And instead of that happening, the Grand Council decides that their apprenticeship will continue, but one will be given to Goddard, and one will be given to Curie. Now, here's the part that's like junked up, like terrible. So, pardon me. So Curie is just like, she just stabs people. Like, she's not like a mass murderer, but with Scythe Faraday, he'd give people a chance to, huh?
I said, yes, she is.
Yeah. Well, with Scythe Faraday, he would give people a chance to write a note to their loved ones. He wouldn't let them make a phone call, but he would like, here, write a note to your loved one and I'll make sure they get it. With Scythe Faraday, what she would do, she just straight stab people and then send a note to their family and say, I killed your loved one, I killed John or Beth or whoever. Here's my address. Huh?
I said, I told you she was horrible.
But then she like, I think she was just different, because she would say, come to my house, and they would come to her house, and she'd make them a meal. Then she'd say, look, I'll let you kill me because of them, because of them. And so if anyone did choose to kill her, she's not going to die forever. But, no one chooses to do it. And by the way, it's illegal to kill a Scythe. It's illegal to even harm a Scythe.
We'll probably do it in secret.
Yeah.
But they couldn't do that, though, so.
But then when it comes to Goddard ends up jumping Rowan in. So he turns down his nanite so he can feel pain, and then has all of his disciple people beat the slop out of him. Just beat him horribly. And Scythes aren't supposed to be worldly people. Like, they're not supposed to have a grand amount of possessions. Dude took over an entire mansion. Not to mention all the people who worked in the mansion and the dude who owned the mansion. He just took over the whole place.
Yeah.
So he's enjoying the perks of being a Scythe. And there really aren't any perks to it, but he's like, hey, you want to live? This is mine now. You like smelling air? Okay, then this is mine too. So that's the kind of person that he is.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to stop the review right here.
That young age, though. That young looking age, it caused you to think like that. You feel like you're young.
Oh no, Goddard's old. Goddard.
No, but the fact that he has the idea in his mind of being young and invincible, it's like, no, who's going to stop me? Especially given a position where he is.
Very true. So we're going to stop this review right here, and then we're going to have a part 2. So we're going to be released on the same day, but this is going to be the first part of our review for the Scythe series. This is for the first book, Scythe. I'll try to leave a link or go back and put a link in for part 2. But thank you so much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in part 2.